All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Saturday. Pocket Change Market Report time for November 18, 2023. Thank you guys for tuning in on this video as we take a stroll down error and variety and various other coins world. Stuff that's sold on eBay here in the last 24 to 48 hours. What's been hot? Well, what's been cold? We're going to find out here in a moment. Some of the coins that you need to be on the lookout for out in circulation. I'm glad to say that during this time of year, things kind of ratchet up a little bit in the community as folks head over to the bank. They pick up some of these coin rolls in the hopes of finding some just recently deposited stash of cash that maybe hasn't seen circulation in 10 plus years. That's kind of the big idea here, just finding some older collections, stuff that's been accumulated for a long time, and there's no better time than right now when folks are rolling up their coins. They're sending it to the bank, and again, you just never know what you're going to find in these. A lot of great stuff, and that's kind of the big elevator pitch going into this season is that a lot of people are injecting some unseen stuff into circulation, into the banking system. So great opportunity here. Furthermore, some of these coins can be found and cherry picked from also coin shows, coin shops. Oftentimes some dealers, they don't care a whole lot about errors and varieties. So they'll either leave them unattributed. This will give you a good opportunity to cherry pick these, come away with a win, buying the coin unattributed, because they're just going to charge you however much the price of the date coin is. But it's a great opportunity. Again, if you guys have shops and shows and stuff that's near you, that's something I personally like doing myself, to add some pretty epic stuff into my collection. And also not to mention, or not to forget as well, that that some of the coins here today are all raw. Actually, they're all raw. We don't talk about graded coins at all. And the big reason why is if you're able to attribute a variety, and you're able to diagnose an error and correctly list them as that, then you're going to have no problem whatsoever selling the coins. As long as everything checks out and it fits the profile of your coin, you're going to do really well. There's no need to grade these. Keep the money in your pocket and just, hold on to the savings there. And finally, you're going to get the best and worst photos, bar none, on eBay from all of these sellers. Believe it or not, the bar is set really low here. So this is going to give you guys a little bit of a little relief knowing that you don't have to be a professional photographer when it comes to taking pictures of these coins. That's the good news. All right, so we're going to jump right in here. We have 25 total lots today to cover. Don't want to waste any more of your time, so let's go ahead and roll. Thank you guys again for all your views and support, and I look forward to talking to you about some of these listings. All right, so the first listing is actually a lot of coins, and there's a lot of stuff here that could possibly pay dividends. What do I normally say about buying bulk? All right, you buy in bulk because the seller has the anticipation that they're willing to take a little bit less money to sell everything in one group, as opposed to possibly just selling them piecemeal. Especially when maybe this type of coins or these type of coins isn't their thing. They don't want to go through the extra trouble of doing the extra work of taking close-ups and things like that. So this could possibly work out in the favor of someone here. So the 10 coins you see here, all collectively sold for $49 with 9 total bids, which seems pretty cheap considering that the possibilities here might actually be pretty good. Take, for instance, the 1956D Lincoln set, shown to be an RPM. They even have the attributions on there. I don't know if they're correct to the coins. We'll find out. But, any RPM, those are traditionally $8 to $10. And The big FS501, those sell for $20, $30, $40. That one seems to be in really nice condition, so that could be a big one there. There's a 1970S Lincoln scent there. It says, very nice, double trusts. I mean, in that one, I'm not really too high on. It could possibly be just machine doubling. So, something to keep in mind there. 1995 DDO FS101. That's always a good one there. That coin by itself can pay for the whole lot. So that's kind of like the main feature coin, I believe, in this whole collection here. 1918S Buffalo Nickel. It says off-center reverse scratch, rim damage. So it had some issues. Overstrike above nose. Don't know what that is. That's not a common numismatic terminology. 1936 S over S RPM. That's a good one, actually. FS501. That coin easily can help pay for about half of what this lot sold for. There's a pretty nice 1938 D over S over mid-mark Buffalo Nickel. Always a big one. Again, that one singular coin can pay for the whole lot. 39S Jefferson Nickel. It says hair error, legit error. Anyways, we're just going to continue on. 1964 D, which appears to be another repunch mid-mark. They call it the FS506. So it could be the thing. I don't know. So make sure you guys double check these coins when you do receive them, just to make sure that they're all correctly attributed. 1941P Washington Quarter, FS102, double to die obverse. That could be a big one. You never know, unless it's not correctly attributed. And then finally the 71D, which they have valued at $125. BU off-center, more appropriately, it looks to be a partial tilted collar, which is still okay. It's not a $125 coin at all here. There's a little bit of a picture of all of the reverses on these here. So, if you take the information that's given to you and you simply research all the coins, you could easily find values on a lot of these. Like the two Buffalo Nickel mid-mark varieties, I would say the 56D over D Lincoln, the 95 double to die Lincoln it's an easy one because those sell quite often. But this one could possibly net 3 to 4 times what was originally paid. $200 that could be a reality here. Again, if all of these attributions check out on these varieties, this could possibly be a big pickup. Next one that we have here is just a really nice off-center struck Jefferson Nickel. Sure, there's no readable date. We know that's important on these coins. This one is off-center by about 80%. Beautiful piece, and this one sold for $25.38. Again, I've cherry-picked these particular coins from shops for roughly $5 to $10. Generally, the ones that have no dates, the coin shops don't have a ton of vested interest in selling these or doing the extra legwork to sell them online. So they'll throw it in a bargain bin, things like that for $5-10. And it's a great pickup because you can make money off these. Here's another duo, 1983, with a full readable date Lincoln Memorial cent. This one's off center by about 50%. And then we also have another one there with no readable date. That one also about 50-55% off center. So not really considered bulk, but these two coins here collectively sold for $27.35 with 7 bids. You can make a few bucks here. This is not a screaming kind of like, hey, time to retire. This sold too cheaply. Not quite. Yeah, we're not quite there on this one. Me personally, I would leave it alone because they're Zinken composition coins. They're not my favorites, and they're not really the favorite of a lot of error collectors either. Now, this one's pretty cool. It's worth talking about, too, because everyone right now, they're very interested in knowing more about these oddball misplaced mint-mark Jefferson nickels. Some that are placed a little bit low or high. The 75D, high D mint-mark is a huge one, and that one is attributed by PCGS and NGC. And then there's also ones like this, 71D, where the mint mark is super low. Ask anyone at the mint, they'll tell you, yeah, it's within mint tolerances, whatever. But this particular coin has captivated the attention of a lot of variety and error people. Just so they can understand, what's the correct placement on these. If the high D75 Jefferson nickel is considered a misplaced mint mark, then this one, in hindsight, should be as well. But they won't attribute this coin, not yet, as low as that Denver mint mark is. So this one right here, I mean, you got to understand that these sell pretty quickly, and you'll make a little bit of money off these. So this one sold for $27.97, which is fair. That is fair game for this one, given its condition. It does have a fair amount of contact marks. It's been around the block a few times, and not a bad way to make this kind of money. So definitely do keep an eye out on these early 70s nickels. Pay close attention to the placement of the mint marks. If one seems to be too high or too low, you might actually have something there. Pretty cool one here. I haven't personally found one of these, but I'm glad to see one in person and in living color. This is a 1962 Lincoln Memorial Cent. This is a business strike coin. This one also is DDO number 20. All right, so there's a ton of doubled dies for this particular date. This is actually number 20. But you'll see here some of the doubling in the date, which is quite robust. And then also in the motto, "In God We Trust." And the coin's in great shape. This is one that I could confidently say we don't see pop up on eBay that often. And because of that, the errant one or two that pops up all throughout the year, they're going to sell really well. Like this one, for example, ended up selling for $33.90. Not too bad, especially for a date which really doesn't offer a whole lot of buzz. 1962 is just a really ho-hum kind of date on all coinage, not just Lincoln, but also Jefferson, nickels, dimes, quarters, you name it. So, but glad to see that one there. Okay, guys, this is a testament that you cannot 100% ignore some of these 80s and 90s proof sets. This is a pure example of just a scenario where it plays out perfectly. Someone had bought this 1981 S proof set, which today you can buy them for like $7, $8. They're really dirt cheap. Aside from the fact that you can find the Type 2 mint marks, which is the nicer mint mark variety for this one, there's also some mint errors to find here. All right, so get a load of this. Wow, this is the Roosevelt dime in this set. Check how strong the clashing is on this coin, on both sides of the coin. It's not just one little tiny particular area. This puppy is fully involved all over the place. There's even clashing on relief of Roosevelt's bust right on there. That's where it tells you that this is a crazy clash. And on a proof coin at that, where proof coins are supposed to be the gold standard of U.S. mint production, because these are collector coins. So with that being said, this set, complete, uncracked out, sold for $432. All of that value heavily leveraged on this one singular coin that you see here, which is kind of a big deal because this coin by itself, let's say you bought this and then you send it off to PCGS, come back with clash dies, you pay for the error attribution. Honestly, this is a coin that you could possibly make an extra $200, $300, $400 on when you sell it at public auction. That's how crazy this coin is, and it's super rare too. But also, do not ignore some of these just kind of like run-of-the-mill dates of proof sets. All right, nobody likes a 1986 proof set. Nobody likes a 1981 proof set, but this should give you guys some reason to do an extra once-over on all the coins in there. All right, still very, very popular, still a hot seller. This is the Edith Kanakaole quarter with the clash right over, right on the ear hairline area of George Washington. You can see Edith's name clashed right there very heavily. This one Sold by Kelly's Treasures, a friend of the channel, and it ended up selling for $99.99. This is one of the more stronger clashes. Keep in mind, this is still a hot one for 2023. If you're looking to make a few bucks, find this coin and then cash in. Now here's another off-center struck Jefferson nickel. This time it has the actual readable date. It's a 1984P. Off-center, I'd say by about 60%. Quite attractive, nice BU, lustrous example. This one sold for $33.73. And we did have a few pieces of paper money. We have this one here, a 1990 $10 bill. Looks like a little bit of a misaligned print. You can even see a sliver of the next note on the subject sheet there at the top. You'll notice that even on the back as well, it's quite a bit misaligned too. The only thing that's not misaligned is the overprint on there. So the actual serial numbers and all that is perfectly centered on the note. This one right here is sold for $75.38. Really nice sale. And the note is in phenomenal shape. I'd say it's easily an AU condition note with not a lot of problems. Well, our good old Smoking Tom is back to make an appearance. You guys remember this one. 2022P Jefferson nickel with the strike through coming out of Jefferson's mouth there. And you could also see the strike through right above his left eye, which is quite robust and very strong. This all a part of what we call field restricted strike through, which is something that involves the feeder finger. The feeder finger actually makes contact with the face of the die, and usually on the feeder finger, it's all gummed up with grease and stuff, so it pushes around grease on the die. So every time the coin is struck and then ejected, the feeder finger, as it puts in another planchet, will make contact with that die face. And you know, in hindsight, every single strike through is going to have a completely different shape to it because of the movement of that grease. This one right here, $19.99. Still has some value here. Don't ignore these at all. It's a quick little $20 bill profit. Enjoy it. We have a 1988A $5 bill. All right. So this one definitely looks like it's either miscut or more misaligned printing. The only way that we can find out is by looking at the reverse, and you can see that it's got pretty decent margins, which would indicate that this is a misaligned sheet during the second print, which is the base print of the front. This one sold for $40.22. Pretty good deal there. Not one of the more strongest or attractive types of this error, but a nice one nonetheless. Our big feature coin of the week. This was also talked about on the live coin Q&A, and it finally sold here in the last day or so. 1999P Roosevelt dime. As you can see, a pretty gnarly snakeskin looking strike through. Every time I see this type of strike through, that's what it reminds me of. It's just like you know, a rattlesnake just shed its skin and it landed on the, you know, the die face and it struck this coin. You know, you can kind of live in your own I guess fantasy world when you look at stuff like this. But what we have here, that is a struck through detached reading from another coin. All right, so yeah, pretty interesting, incredible visual effect of this particular error. Not the greatest looking coin. All right, I don't know what Roosevelt has going on his face there. It's either grease or gunk or boogers or something like that. But just keep in mind that the way the coin sits right now, this one sold for $78.24. Folks, you can't make that up. This is a real sale of a coin that I would say 99.9% of the people out there that have had this in their hand probably did not give a care. All right, they went and spent it. They put it in a change jar, whatever the case may be. But this is a huge, huge error, and one that you should probably not ignore. We did see another one like this on a quarter about a week or two ago. That sold for a lion's share too. So these are popping out, you know, and folks are curious. Really nice off-center struck 1998P Washington quarter. This is a good-looking one, save for some staining on the obverse there on Washington's cheek. This one sold for $42. All right, so again, a necessity in a date set whenever they're looking for one. This is the one right here. 1995 $1 bill. Again, we have a nice overprint misalignment, so you can see the serial numbers and all the seals shifted to the right a little bit, causing some overlap on the base second print and that overprint. Quite nice, very attractive, decent looking note. I'd say a high-end VF, like a 35 XF40 type caliber grade here. See, a quick little look at the reverse. Shows a little bit of fold action there on the top right corner. And this one, folks, sold for $28.70. One of the bigger bargains of the week. This one was a buy it now listing that probably was offered up too cheap. I'd say easily 10, 15 bucks left on the table here with this one. All right, woody wood grains and proper alloy mixed coins that give off some really epic looking wood grain effects on the surfaces of some of these coins, especially the older ones from the 50s and then going back from there. You can find them on Lincoln cents, you can find them on nickels, you can find them on a few other things, but this, my friends, people are beginning to take notice of these coins. I know of a few people that are assembling full date set woody wood grains of Lincolns, and 1920 is what we have here on this one. So the zinc or tin that the mint employees add to the copper didn't mix very well. All right, so it creates this kind of effect right here, and this one sold for $15.71. Used to be you could give these away for $1 or $2. And then they're slowly starting to come around the marketplace. People are really looking at these as being artistic pieces. Here's another beautiful off-center Jefferson nickel. This is a 1971, full readable date and all on there. Off-center by about 50%, somewhere in that general area. Very attractive coin too, in really nice shape. $51.73 was the final sale price on this one. And this one will blow your mind, okay? So, Wisconsin statehood quarters, we know what to look for. The low leaf, the high leaf varieties, they're quite popular. They're very valuable. But we all know that those coins were distributed back in the day in Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas region. All right, so that's the main drop zone of those particular varieties. And even to this day, people are still finding them in Texas. It never fails. I see one or two a week that's sold, and they're from like the nation's heartland. So, which is really cool. I mean, they don't travel particularly well. The likelihood that you'll find one, say, in California or in Maine or Florida, very slim. You're going to have your best luck finding these in Texas. So it blew my mind when the seller had a few BU rolls available. Call it new old stock or whatever you want. These were preserved from the day that from the year that they released in 2004. The question is, where did these rolls originate from? We could tell you that the seller is in Missouri, very close, but not quite there. Missouri, they have their own access to a Federal Reserve Bank, so they're going to get a completely different crop of coins. Whereas the other ones that were dropped in like Texas and Oklahoma, they were leaning on the Dallas Fed Reserve Bank. So, with that being said, this represents a pretty epic chance of finding one of those leaf varieties, and because of that, one roll sold for $181.60 with 2 bids. Talk about gambler's fallacy here. Just be incredibly careful if you're going to open these up, because at the end of the day, it's still $10 in quarters. And, if you don't know where these originate from, that cannot possibly be very good for you. All right. So keep that in mind. $180, very, very high price on one singular roll. Yeah, this is exactly what the photo looked like. 2023 Extra V Lincoln Cent. You know, we're going to continue to have these in at least one in every PCMR until they die off, because I want to know when these things kind of fall off. So this one right here, yeah, they just took a little picture. They thankfully they pulled it out of the cardboard 2x2. There's the back picture, you know. And I think it's okay. It's okay when you have a picture that small of the coin, because it preserves the quality a little bit better. Not super great, but if you find yourself having a difficult time taking a close-up because it's way out of focus, then just do it like this. The one thing that kind of eats at me is the fact that they did a really good job at the close-up here of the Extra V notch. That's right next to VDB. So how does that work? Yeah, this is obviously like a microscope photo. This particular coin right here sold for $60.95 with 4 bits. Very strong price on this one. 1979, or 73 rather, 1973 Denver Roosevelt dime, double struck. The secondary strike is about 95% off center. So, pretty cool one here. You know, the coin's not, I would say it's like AU condition. It's not the best photos to display any sort of luster, but yeah, pretty interesting error here. $39.25 with 8 bits. 1916 S Buffalo Nickel. Buffalo nickels were rife with all sorts of detached laminations and annealing issues. Here's another one right here showing a pretty nice swath of detached lamination on the obverse face of the coin. Probably VG condition coin. It's got very little bit of a horn there on the reverse. A little bit tougher date as well. This one sold for $19.99. And this is a particularly rough-looking Sacagawea dollar. This is indeed a Wounded Eagle reverse, which is the FS901. That's Cherry Picker's Guide variety. Yeah, there must not be too many of these, because this one ended up selling. And it sold for quite a bit of money. But first, here's a little bit of a close-up of what the Wounded Eagle is all about. It's a pair of die gouges that go right through the breast area of the eagle there and into the wing. So, yeah, and it's raised, too, in case you're wondering. So you could actually feel it with your fingernail as you drag it across the coin. And this one right here sold for $97.45, which is, in contrast to the last one that we talked about, which was about a week ago. That was like really nice mid-state condition. That one sold for like $65, so there's a pretty big price discrepancy. I think this is probably a supply issue. There's just not a lot of them on eBay right now. Pretty neat one. This is a Lincoln Memorial set struck through an earlier stage capped die that generated a little bit of a brockage right on there. So this is really cool, very neat. The ones with the brockages and things like that, they tend to sell for a lot more money when you can see that image on there. So this one right here sold for $98, whereas a regular, like, later stage capped die, they're generally $25 to $40. Very nice, very scarce date, 1994 P Roosevelt dime. Scarce in the sense that you don't see too many off-center strikes and broad strikes of this date. I've been paying close attention. I understood the assignment when I looked at this and subsequently talked to you about how tough it is. Very nice hammered, centered broad strike on this one. $69.99 was the sale price. Someone scooped this one up really fast. And that's your seller, YK, on eBay. Pretty good one here, 1923 Peace Dollar. It's a Philadelphia, but look at that black swath on the reverse. That is actually a detached lamination. All right, lamination on silver coins is a little bit more different than what you see on, say, nickels and pennies. In a sense that when there's a detached lamination on a silver coin, it's gonna turn black. All right, after a while, not immediately, but after time. It doesn't take much for it to happen. So when you see something like this, just keep in mind that it's a pretty good chance that it is a lamination. This is a beautiful coin as well, probably mid-state 62, 63. Pretty nice condition. This one sold for $79.50, so well done there on that sale. And then finally, probably one of the best looking woodies that I have seen in a little while is on this 1955 Lincoln. Check out the reverse of this one. That's some incredible wood graining on there. Again, all as a result of an improper alloy mix. The aluminum or zinc or tin or whatever didn't mix too well, creating this event that you see here. So keep that in mind. This is what a wood grain looks like on a more mid-state example. It does have some luster, you know, when you twirl it around. Very beautiful coin. So good job here. Sold for $29.99. It's just going to be a matter of time before these things blow up. The more people that get into collecting woodies, it's just going to have a domino effect all around. And supplies right now are quite a bit constraint on woodies, so you know, something to keep in mind, and pretty cool little collectible here. All right, well, there you go. We are to the end of this one. Videos for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Please do collect and grade responsibly. That's always key. Thank you guys for tuning in on this one, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and sub into my video and the channel if you haven't done so already. I am your host, Sean, with BlueRidgeSilverhound. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Happy hunting. And I'll see you guys next time.